As essayist Jorge Luis Borges put it, "Except for man, all creatures are immortal, for they are ignorant of death." There was a time when creatures that looked like us were animals, and they too didn't know there was a future or a past. How did we get from there to a point where we could think about the future, influence it, and finally, perhaps, master it? This book tells the story in 3 acts of how our species learned to escape the perpetual present. Act 1 is how we develop the cognitive ability to mentally time travel. It starts far in the distant past, millennia ago, and explores how we acquired language as a mental construct, which gave us the capacity for thought, which we only later began externalizing in a spoken form in order to communicate with others. That mental language became the voice in our head, one that we use to imagine stories about possible immediate futures, running different scenarios in our minds of the ways that events could unfold. Later, we started externalizing those as well, telling stories to each other. We were story thinkers before we became storytellers. The thing that transformed us, the radioactive spider that bit us, was something so rare and so serendipitous that it evidently has never happened to any other creature. That's why there are no Bronze Age beavers. When we got our mental superpowers 50,000 or so years ago, we became fully us, with our language, art, music, and all the rest. With this range of new abilities, we were able to draw upon the past to imagine multiple futures and predict which of them would happen. This gave us mastery of the planet in an evolutionary blink of an eye. With it, we invented agriculture, created cities, devised writing systems, divided into nations, and explored the world. But we wanted more. We wanted to systematize prediction, turning it from an art to a science. We accomplished this, but doing so required a new understanding of the nature of reality, of why the future unfolds the way it does. That's the story told in Act 2, which begins in 1654 in France, when 2 mathematicians trading correspondence invented what we now call probability theory. With it, we had a science for seeing into the future, and we used it to build the modern world. It became the cornerstone of a dozen sciences, from mundane meteorology to exotic quantum physics. Sociologists used it to create demography, while biologists used it to pioneer medical research. It became the basis of our financial system, the insurance industry, the capital markets, and, well, the entire world economy. All commerce was based on it, on using probability to predict everything from inventory levels to consumer demand. Virtually all of the modern world, in all of its complexity, sits atop that science of seeing the future. 3 centuries passed between creating the science of probability and hitting a biological limit of what our intellects, as amazing as they are, could accomplish with it. So we began building machines that could employ the science far better than we could. The curtain closes on Act 2 in 1954 as we booted up the first all-transistor computer. Act 3 opens on that world, where events transpired quickly. Transistor-based computers rapidly grew in capability, and we invented a science called artificial intelligence, whose explicit goal was to teach the new machines how to think as we did. The hope was that with their lightning speed they could solve probability problems that were beyond our capabilities, allowing us to predict the future even more accurately. At the same time, we began attaching electronic sensors to the computers, allowing them to see and hear the world on their own and to interact with it. They would gather near infinite amounts of data, and the belief was, and still is, that all that data, combined with near unlimited processing power, will give us the ability to see the future as accurately as we see the present. If we can do this, we will become true masters of fate. We are living at the dawn of Act 3.